There may be times when you want your students to be able to use drawing tools, such as when they create their own graphs. Let me show you a couple examples of online whiteboards that might suit your needs. There are many applications out there that have drawing tools as a part of their features. I wanted to take the time to share 4 of them with you that I think will suit your needs in different ways. If they don't suit you for one assignment, they may suit you for another. Let me take a moment to go over these different applications, starting with the Endless Whiteboard for Microsoft. You can see that I've added a Post-it note, I've added some images, and I've added text. You can also use PowerPoint. PowerPoint also has drawing tools which allows your students to be able to draw and explain or label diagrams. I also have JamBoard. JamBoard also offers the features of sticky notes. You have the ability to incorporate pictures and draw and explain with your drawing tools. And lastly, I have Google Draw. Google Draw has limited drawing features, but it has other great features which may make this a tool of choice. I'd like to take the next few minutes going over the tools in each one of these applications in more detail. It is probably easiest to create new documents in any Google application by actually starting from Google Drive. When I'm in Google Drive, I can click on New, and then I can click on More, and you can see all the applications that are available from starting from Google Drive. That includes both Google Drawing and the Google JamBoard, both of which have drawing tools inside them. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the Google Drawing and click on that. Now, this will automatically save in your Google Drive as an untitled drawing. You probably want to create a new title. So I'm going to label this graph template. You can, in fact, just leave this exactly like this and just name it blank template and assign this for your students. This will give your students the entire options that are available to them to create it based on their design features. But there are times when you want to be able to share a template that is partly started with your students. So you can, if you wanted to, go ahead and insert in some key features to get kids started. So I'm going to start by including a shape. If I want my students to be able to create a graph, I'm going to insert a shape right here. You can change the color if you would like to a slightly gray. And then if you would like, you can change your background to a darker color or a lighter color, depending on how you want. So I'm going to change the background blue. So what this has done is I've created a drawing space for my students. Then what I can do is insert a table. Depending on how many columns you want. And it allows me to be able to move it around. If you want to leave it as this and share it with your students, knowing their students are going to use this area to draw the graph and this area to draw or enter in their data, then that would be great. You can, however, go ahead and continue to finish it if you would like to. The options for your students or you, if you so choose to let them to complete this, include adding your field color. You can do it by just specific cells. Or you can include just one side over the other. To use your drawing in Google Drawing, it's a little different than what you would think. So I'm going to click on Insert and click on Line, and you want Scribble. That is what you want to be able to do your drawing. So I'm going to click on Scribble. And you'll notice that right here, I have the little scribble icon and a drop down arrow so I can change it. So this is the scribble, and each time I want to draw, I need to click on that. So that allows me to be able to create for myself the images on my screen. I can change my color at this point, and I can make it broader. So to change my color, I click right here. To make it a broader line, I click right here. So when I click off, I'm going to click on this right here select button. So I can see I have a broader line. You can also insert pictures. So I have a couple pictures ready to go. So I've searched for my pictures. I just simply right click on my picture, go back to my drawing that I'm working on, and I'm going to hit Control V, and it is right there. Now for the JamBoard. So let's go over the JamBoard. One of the differences between JamBoard and Google Drawings is that JamBoard is not saved in your Google Drive. It is saved in JamBoard. So let's take you over to JamBoard. I'm just simply going to Google it. So I'm going to write Google JamBoard, and make sure you write Whiteboard at the end. And you can bookmark this if you like. So I'm going to use a collaborative digital whiteboard, and I'm going to get started. You can see that I have some JamBoards already in here. So I'm going to create a new JamBoard right here. One of the differences between JamBoard and Google Drawings is my ability to insert pictures. For Google Drawing, I can insert my pictures through here, click Insert, and grab my image right here, or copy and paste it off of Google Search. Where's my Google Search? Right here. For JamBoard, it's a little different. My pictures are right here, and I can do my search right here or upload a picture. So in this case, I am just going to do a search, and I'm going to look for a box because I want it to be framed for my graph. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just go box and see what we get. And one more time, 3 times the charm, right? Ah, there we go. So I click select. Okay, so this is not something you can create as a template for your students. Your students will have to know to create these kinds of things. So I now have a frame, and I can resize it and move it around. The next thing I'm probably going to want to do is explore my pen options. When I click on my pen options and a little right arrow, I have my choices of color and my pen styles. So the broader pen is right here, the thinner pen is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a broader pen and choose a color. I'm going to choose black. So I'm going to use my stylus. I can also use my mouse if I do not have a stylus. And I'm going to draw the line going across from my midpoint. And change my color again. And this will allow me to draw my lines that I need. And I can even shade in right here. Cool thing about JamBoards is that I can add little sticky notes. So I can provide an explanation for my graph. And click Save. I also have some options of colors up here. And click Escape. And there it is. Once again, I can resize that. I don't have the ability to put a table in here, but I could look for a picture and put a table and write my data in if I would like to. The other option that is kind of neat is this one right here. This is unique to the JamBoard. It's a laser, allowing your students to be able to explain things. So basically it's like a disappearing pen. So they could do a screen record and explain anything that they have on their diagram. You can use both of these documents as collaborative tools. So for instance, you've assigned this to your students. They have gone to JamBoard, they've created their JamBoard, and maybe you want them to work together in groups or pairs. They simply have to click on the share button. They can just copy a link. Right now, this is restricted only, so I'm going to change it. And I can allow you to be an editor. So this person has to log in, or if you would like, just to change it to anyone with a link. This allows for easy access for sharing, but it is more risky to do that. So you need to be careful with the groups of students that you're asking to share anyone with the link. Then they click copy the link and click done. If your students happen to have their own working emails, they can share it as you can with collaborators by typing in email addresses in this line. Again, when done, click done. The Google Drawing, if you want them to work collaboratively, works the same way. Next step is for you to consider how you're going to share your documents. So once again, you cannot share the JamBoard. You'll have to give directions on how students get there, and you can simply provide them with a link to JamBoard in your assignment. So when you're sharing your assignment with your students, you're going to go to the Google JamBoard Whiteboard, and just simply take this link right here, copy this link so students know how to get there, and this is the link you'll share in your assignments. The last application I'd like to go over is the Endless Whiteboard from Microsoft. And when I click on it, when I say endless, it really is endless. I can click any direction and drag my whiteboard and continue to add on to it and add on to it and add on to it, which makes it very unique among all of the applications that use drawing tools. Just like the other whiteboards, it has its drawing tools up here, including the eraser, ability to add text, and sticky notes. So I just click on the sticky note and I can type my text in. Unlike the other application, this particular application can also be opened on a desktop. So I can click on this. If I've never used it before, I will need to start here. If I already have the application, I will just click here. Next time you go to open this, you don't have to launch it from the online. You can actually launch it from your desktop. To do that, you have a little magnifying glass down on the bottom left of your screen. Just simply write in or type in whiteboard. And there it is, and you can click to open it from there. You can even right-click and pin it to start if this is something you're going to use regularly. For students working on Chromebooks, this is not an option for them because they cannot use this application on the Chromebook. You have to be using a laptop or a desktop computer. So depending on what you have available for your students, this may or may not be an option. However, it is an option for you as a teacher as well. So once again, I have the same image, and when I change on this particular one, this desktop, it will change online as well. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a picture. And since this has to do with the water cycle, I'm just going to go ahead and write that in there. Once you found a picture that suits your needs, you can click on it, click the plus sign, and bring it in. You can resize it and position it by clicking on the little dot, how you see fit. Now notice that I've added this onto my desktop version, so I'm going to go click on my online version and show you that it is there as well. So there's the object that I just added from my desktop, and now you can see that I'm online, and the changes that I make over here, it will also show up on my desktop as well. Now this is a tool that can be collaborated with, like the other online tools. This one works in two different ways, depending on whether or not you're using the desktop version or the online version. One of the things that you will want to be able to do is likely to create a template so your students can be able to write on them, so you will need to be able to share it. The best way to share it is online with your students because many of them don't have emails. So to do that, I would click on the share button and be able to share it with the link. So make sure the share link is on and copy the link. Once you're in your assignment where you want to share that particular endless whiteboard, you simply write your directions and you tell your students to click on this link. You can either paste the link out where the students actually see the code for the link, or if you have one of these links right here, you just click on it and you can hit Control V and your link to your particular endless whiteboard is now here. Now, depending on what group your students are in, you may want to assign this individually to students where each student gets a different whiteboard, or each group of student gets a different whiteboard, because currently every student is going to land on that particular whiteboard. Now, because it's endless, it may not be a big deal because you can create quadrants for your kids, but it may not be something where you want every single kid on the same whiteboard. So you may want to create more than one template depending on how you want to divide it up. Now, students can create their own whiteboards from scratch and do the same thing. They can copy that link, and then in a common document, they can each put themselves in groups where they join together in groups. If your students have working emails, or if they're sharing it through a device, they can even text that link to each other. So there's different ways that you can get your kids to successfully share their links with each other with their whiteboards that they created. You, as a teacher, have an additional option. If you're working from the desktop version, you can also create on the little plus sign right here and invite somebody, and you can type in their email and add them specifically to your whiteboard. So this might be an opportunity for different teachers to be able to collaborate on things like lesson plans or lessons that they're creating. When students are submitting their assignments, they click on the three little pancakes right here, and on the desktop version, you're going to export it, and you can export it as an image. If you are turning it in from the online version, it works the same way. So instead of pancakes, you have a little gear right here, and you're going to export the image. In both cases, you will save the document, and then you will upload it as an assignment for something that you have assigned, where students will add their own submissions. Now, you don't have as many features in the Endless Whiteboard as you do for the desktop version. You'll notice that you have more features and you have some control in the desktop as to what it looks like. So for instance, I have some control over my pen, so I can click on the pen that I want to change, click on the little dot, and I have a choice of how fat I would like the markings to be and their colors. I even have the option of sparkling pens, so that makes the desktop version kind of a superior in that way to the online. Think of the online as a lighter application. I also have the ability to add things to my particular menu. One of the things I could add is a note grid, which means that each person can mark in their own spot if we're working on this collaboratively. I can add stickers, which is kind of like a fun version of pictures. And again, just like a picture, I can move it around and resize it. And if I don't like it, it goes away. I can also incorporate documents that I may have already created and saved from a file system. So PDFs, Words, and PowerPoints can also be incorporated into this. So if I have, let's say, a graph that I've made a PDF in, I can put that graph right here.